Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Big Johnny here, as you can see. Our super special guest tonight is Mr. Gold Eagle himself, Simon, from the UNN platform, our friends at UNN. Simon's helped on all sorts of little things that we've done, but a great guy and all that, and we welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
And of course, we've got legendary, I tell you, Pat McGinnis, who actually has been out canvassing in a new area tonight. Pat, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I had a very interesting night canvassing. Knocked on this woman's door. She's opened the door. Her cat's ran out the door. She's run out in her knickers to grab the cat, and the door slammed. And I said to her, is there somebody in to open the door for her? And there was no one in the flat. So I'm standing there with this woman in her knickers, and I'm like, I had to get one of the membership cards of a new member, Big Vinny, and I managed to open her door for her, got her back in. So she said she'll definitely vote for me. Then I went downstairs, knocked on another door, and it's the geezer who works in my local supermarket. Another 2 votes on the postal vote. So, mate, had an amazing night canvassing tonight. Always an interesting story to tell you. And it's going really well, the campaign. Loads of people are saying they're going to vote for me. Loads. So, you know, we're on the right road. Back over to you, John.
Oh, thank you. Was this your area or a new area?
No, this is my area. That's like literally, like, this is the biggest council estate in my area. I've just started to tackle it. And it's going really well.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, myself today, I visited Rochdale, done some videos with PAG UK, Billy Howarth, who's running for Member of Parliament. The Rochdale By Election, it's not the Rochdale By Election. It's, Cursory. Pat, just carry on, take over.
Okay. So, yeah, John and our party are supporting Billy, who's standing in the Rochdale by-election. I believe it's on the 29th of this month. And Billy, PAG UK, Parents Against Grooming Gangs. He's been campaigning against grooming gangs for years and years and years. And he's, a patriotic Englishman. And National Housing Party are supporting his campaign. Obviously, looking maybe George Galloway might win it, and he's done very well to capitalise on what's happened, and it's unbelievable that the Labour Party got rid of their candidate for this. The thing he said is, I agree with what he said. I think Israel allowed that attack to happen so they could get the excuse to invade Gaza and do what they're doing. That's all he said. And then George Galloway is joining in with the Labour Party, saying, yeah, it's right to take him off and not support him. And what he said was terrible. And I'm thinking, well, I thought you was an anti-Zionist, Galloway. I don't know. I'm confused, Simon. What do you think?
Well, I actually haven't seen anything that our George, David Clues does a much better impression of George Galloway than I could ever do. But I haven't seen him say anything. But I really do think Labour have really shot themselves in the foot. Rochdale is a Labour area, and it reminds me a lot about South Wales, because South Wales, right, it's like a Labour hotbed. Basically, you could have a sheep, you could have Dolly the sheep stand for Labour, and it would get elected. I mean, you just have to look at all the sheep that actually are representing Wales in the Welsh government. And interestingly enough as well, there's an election coming on to see who is going to be the Labour leader. But they really have shot themselves in the foot here with it's something as well that they can't remove him apparently from the ballot. So he'll still be on the ballot. Yeah. Which, do you mean it's just crazy? I was on my show last night. I basically, when I first heard the news, it was about just before 8 o'clock that the news broke that that's it. We're not having you anymore. Sorry, that was a bit too butch for Queer Queer Summer. He sounds so. I mean, I don't mean to be inappropriate, but he sounds so gay. Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. You know, he really is a real apologist. But I called him a cuck, okay, because he is cucked. Look, I know his wife is Jewish, okay, right? So it might have caused a bit of conflict, you know, back with her indoors. But you know, at the end of the day, a lot of Labour Party people know that there is rubbish. You know, there is basically a genocide going on. You can't describe it as anything else, right? They're killing people. Now, I have noticed since October the 7th, a lot of our so-called nationalists are sort of all pro-Israel, and they say that Israel are justified, that they're defending their borders, that this carpet bombing. Oh, it was interesting as well. We had a guy called David Miller on, a bit of a lefty, but he was saying it's not carpet bombing. And we in the audience are like, what are you talking about? Of course it's carpet bombing. You know, they're literally dropping them off. He said, no, it's worse. It's more nefarious than that. They're targeting.
It's carpet bulldozing.
Yeah, but what he was saying is that they are targeting all the infrastructure. You know, it's deliberate. It's not just like random dropping the bombs, you know, as you would like if you were carpet bombing, that it is tactical. And I think it's pretty obvious, you know, that you can see that that's what they want, you know. There's a song by, is it Suzanne Vega? Put up another car park. You know, it just has shades to me that that's what they're doing. They're bulldozing it. There's so much that could be going on. There's this pipeline that they want, you know, Israel, because it's all about the money. Basically, it's ka-ching, ka-ching. But getting back to Rochdale, I think my money here would be on George Galloway.
Right, but let me just get a few things in. So, Rochdale by election, as you can see, the candidates are up. Aztar Ali now has been dropped off the Labour Party, running as independent because he's said something against Jewish people. This is not, guys, an election for the UK or Rochdale. It's an election for fucking foreign bullshit powers. I don't believe that people are going along with it. I just can't believe it. George Galloway is using Palestine to get votes, and it's nothing to do with 76% of the white indigenous people who live in Rochdale. Nothing to do with them. It's a minority of people. I'd rather it be somebody standing for Rochdale. And every councillor who's standing is standing like Israel or conservative Israel. It's nothing to do with Israel. It's Rochdale, this. There's no massive majority Israeli community in Rochdale. This is a problem with our world, with our country. We're bothered about everyone else's stinking wars instead of thinking of the working class people who are trying to earn money in Rochdale and Oldham. And these are Rochdale and Oldham are two of the poorest towns in Greater Manchester. And all they're bothered about is I just don't want to hear Israel or Palestine. I really don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So all the Labour people have had pictures with him, which is proper showing them up. Labour have definitely shot themselves in the foot. Simon Dansack, ex-Labour candidate, had a bit of trouble with messaging a 17-year-old for sex or something like that. Scumbag. Ian Donaldson, Liberal Democrats. I don't expect the Liberal Democrats to do anything. That guy will probably be a Palestine supporter. And, you know, he'll probably have on his leaflet, oh, free Palestine. Well, fucking, I'm sorry to swear, I don't want to free nothing. I want to free Rochdale people and Oldham people and UK people. Not everyone else around the world, just saying. Paul Ellison, Conservative. The Conservatives are bullies. They've already started pressuring Billy and bullying him with stuff, you know, about his appearance and stuff like that. So if we run into the Conservatives in Rochdale, it'll be I'll definitely have some nice, easy sounding, nice words for them, which I won't. And I'm going to go to the count as well. and I'm going to try and pull all these people when they're going in the count. George Galloway, Workers' Party of Britain. George is obviously running on the Palestine thing. I have got respect for George Galloway because he took time out of his Batley campaign to be interviewed by me. So, and, you know, under the hype of whatever anybody else thinks, he did that for me. So I have respect there. Can't stand his politics. He's only in Rochdale because of Palestine, which is nothing to do with 76% of the Rochdale, over 90% of the Rochdale community. It's just a minority of people. Also, Green Party, Guy Otten, retired solicitor and tribunal judge, so he's probably more on the woke side, him. And I don't have much confidence in judges or solicitors, especially the ones we have out now, so I can't say much about him. Other candidates running, Billy Howarth, Parents Against Grooming. Billy has been fighting against abuse since Cyril Smith days, guys. That's what it started off with. Started off with a white man abusing white kids at No View Home. If anyone wants to look into it, didn't start off with anyone of any colour or anything. That's what it started off with. The Labour councillor, ex-Labour leader Richard Parnell, lied to an inquiry when he said he didn't know that it was going on, but the inquiry found evidence that he did. He didn't keep his Labour leader's job, but he moved under and worked under Joe Anderson and ended up ripping 100 million in taxpayers' money off in Liverpool. So no accountability. Obviously, Cyril Smith, there's never been any accountability for Cyril Smith. So Billy started up Parents Against Grooming with a woman called Linda Phillips. And this is what Linda was like, guys. When she wanted to take, if there was a war in an African country, she wouldn't donate any money to charity. What she'd do is book a flight there, fill 10 suitcases up, and take the stuff over herself and hand it out. That's what Linda did. She never believed in any charities. Linda also fostered over 100 kids, and a dozen of them were long-term, and she fostered over 100 kids. So they started Parents Against Grooming. At every level, Billy has been attacked off the council, the police, and stuff like that for the stuff he does. What does he do? He catches paedophiles. What else does he do? He does park patrols and secures safe areas when there's people loitering around, and people have been known to loiter around outside schools. He goes patrolling these areas. What else did he do? What we know is in Rochdale, the taxi ranks were a big problem in the town centre to do with the grooming. Half the guys of the Rochdale 9 are taxi drivers. So what did Billy do? He started up PAG UK and he went and introduced himself to all taxi ranks. So Billy, Parents Against Grooming. If we find any of your guys in taxis without the proper equipment, you're getting shut down. Police never did this. And the Labour Council never did this because of political correctness. Let me get you out. But Billy did it. So Billy is my man for Member of Parliament of Rochdale. He has a drop-in shop on the High Street, at the top of the High Street, that he's had for more than a couple of years. It gets vandalised. People are always picking on him from council and all that lot. And, you know, and these councillors are wimps. Because if there was any kind of men, they'd go and approach Billy. And I'll tell you what, he's not somebody you approach, right, if you think you're going to be, like, aggressive or anything like that with him. And he'll just tell you straight what he thinks of you. Also, Billy has made the Labour Party and the Liberal Democrats change the candidates. Billy did that by calling them out. The Liberal Democrats was going to run one of the two councillors who give references to the Rochdale 9. Liberal Democrats were going to run one of them. Billy's ousted him. The first Labour candidate, he ousted him because he's a rogue landlord with damp houses all over the place. And as we know, last year, a young little African lad died because of mould poisoning in the houses. So Billy's also on a big housing association committee. And obviously, you did see that the Rochdale Senate craft were desecrated when the Palestine protest started up, Billy was the one who forced the police to have a big meeting to get convictions on them two people, even though there were convictions mentioned about. Well, Billy, it weren't anyone else. Nobody was going to do nothing. Nobody was going to do nothing in that time. Billy did it. Billy gets my 100% support. If you can help him out, I will put his. We will be doing streams, and I've got a donation link for Billy. He's certainly worth to put some help behind. But yeah, that's a bit about Rochdale. And let me just tell you, Rochdale is intimately connected to Oldham, because we know that the Rochdale 9 who were convicted of abusing the 3 girls, we know that half of them worked or lived in Oldham. We know that them girls were trafficked between Rochdale, Oldham, Leeds. We even know that there was girls brought to Rochdale from as far as Cumbria. Cumbria, guys. You won't hear this on any other channel, but you hear it off Big John, right? And when we look at the case and the 3 girls scandal, it's all looked locally. It doesn't hardly say anything about anywhere else within the scandal. And that is the same with Rotherham and Telford as well. The mainstream media don't tell you that it's not just in them areas. These girls are trafficked all over the country, guys, all over the country. So after going through some of the candidates, I don't agree with any of them. I think they're all running on energy from Israel and Palestine, which isn't the right thing to be running for. I want somebody to run for Rochdale people. I mean, the demographics in Rochdale is 76% like white, Indigenous English. That's the majority. It's a tiny minority who are commanding that town, and they're running it into the ground, guys. And it's the same in Oldham. A lot of the things I talked about there, I can say the same kind of things that have gone on in Oldham. So, I mean, Billy had a demo. No one turned up from as elected councillors. The only people to turn up to do with like counselling were me and Nick Buckley. And I would have turned up whether I'm elected councillor or not. And one of the people said, this is a bit ignorant of us British people. It's what we're like. Well, they didn't turn up because it's nothing to do with Oldham. Rochdale's intimately linked with Oldham. Half them Rochdale 9 worked or lived in Oldham. Shabir Daddy Ahmed worked for Oldham Council on the welfare thing. So, yeah, it is intimately linked with Oldham. So don't think you can get rid of something in Rochdale and think it'll go away in Oldham. It just don't work like that. And a lot of you lot are ignorant to this kind of like thinking. They are, because it just doesn't work like that. Obviously, we do. I want to run my community and support my community as much as I can, but I need to support the town of Oldham as well. We can't think we can get rid of the cancer out of one tiny area without clearing out the other areas first. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't. So the Rochdale by election, my man is Billy Howard, the only one who's done any work out of all them candidates, any kind of work against abusing kids, whether they're white, pink, brown or black. He's the only one who even speaks out about it. All the other councillors are politically correct if they're white, and they only support Palestine or whatever if they're minority. I'm just going to make it as blunt as I can be there. I've just had a notification off Paul Rimmy. Sorry he can't join us tonight, but the Orange Lodge just called him up, so he's gone to his Orange meeting tonight. So, and that's one of his things. But yeah, I'm sorry about the rant on Rochdale and all that. But I just wanted to bring you up to speed with who the good person is and all the rest of bad people. We did actually bump into a reporter from the Mill, the Manchester Mill, the online newspaper thing, and he also got an interview with a conservative group. I can't remember the specific group, but with a conservative supporting group. And he's had interviews of other people. I mean, he's had a lot of time on GB News, but they're just as politically correct as everyone else. They are just as politically correct as anyone else. They're not telling you everything. I've told you more than any mainstream media is going to tell you. I've told you more in that just past 5 minutes than you'll see in any mainstream media or anything like that. So the Rochdale by-election, obviously they're going to be having a big by-election in the general election when we get, so the candidate here is only going to be in a few months. But it's a good stepping stone. I'm glad Billy's stepped up to the mark now. He's finished with demos and he's going to go on the political route. And whatever I can do to help him, I will do. And I hope him the best going forward. We'll get him on. We'll try and get him on before the by-election results on at the end of February. If not, I'm going to try and get down to the count area or wherever they're doing the count on the night and probably do a live stream about it and see if we can catch up with any of the other candidates who are running. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. So go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
No, I'll just ask you one question before we hand over to Simon. We want to talk about UNN and the media and GB News and these sort of things. But just one question before we do. Honestly, John, has Billy Pag UK got a lot of support? Will they come out and vote for him? And how much votes do you think he will get?
He was talking today that he's definitely going to get over his 5% threshold. He did mention 15%, but he's definitely going to get over his 5% threshold. I mean, Billy is a businessman. He's had his shop on that town centre for a few years now. So he is the kind of person that people do know about. And I didn't meet anyone today who wasn't going to support Billy. In all the shops, the burger vans and all that, they all wanted to talk to him. He's had a good reception at the doors when he's been knocking at night. But, you know, to me, he's not going to win. But it's just a stepping stone and a practice run for the next general election. And he can only get better. He's had a bit of trouble waiting for some leaflets, but he's got thousands of leaflets now, and there's people been delivering them tonight. And, I mean, he's known like that, but like Galloway's going up to a door. This is what Billy said in an interview, and I'll repeat it. Galloway's going up to a door with 8 blokes, and one of them's a man telling people you've got to vote for him, you've got to vote, Free Palestine, got to vote. That's what he's going up to people's doors. And if I was in Rochdale and he turned up at my door, I'd literally be wanting to like phone the police or I feel intimidated straight away. I mean, when I feel intimidated, you get into you can feel a bit of aggression, and I would do. I'm sorry, I would do if people turned up at the door.
However, John, okay, right? If he's going with an imam, okay, to a Muslim household, it's the sort of thing, you see, because being a celebrity and having someone there actually attracts you to voting for that party. So it's his gimmick, because the Muslim is going to be pleased to see the imam there. He may even know him. He may even be like a celebrity. So it is a tactic. It just does emphasize the tactic that George Galloway is doing. And he's got such a wealth of experience. And this is one thing, if he does get elected, he will put the cat amongst the pigeons, because he's not short from coming forward. You know, he will call things out. And one of the benefits, if he does get elected, is you will hear his tones, his dulcet tones in Parliament. And he is a celebrity. Just to talk about Bill Howarth there, I obviously didn't know Bill, but Bill is an example of the state of this country. Because everything you were saying, right, that he stands for, what do we pay our taxes for? Right? We pay the police. I don't know how much you pay. I think mine is like £450 in my tax goes to the police commissioner, right? If they're not doing their job, you know, then shouldn't we start, like, you know, holding back on paying our council tax? Because they should be doing things like stopping people from climbing onto monuments and stuff like that. That's just, you know, forget about the race, the Israel and Palestine. That's antisocial behaviour. But more importantly, these grooming gangs, okay, if we had a police force where it wasn't all political because we don't want to upset all these people because we don't want to be racist, right? if I was a police commissioner there, I would just clamp down on it. I'd investigate. I'd do some detective work. And what I would do is, through the courts and the judiciary system, make it so that these grooming gangs, all this paedophilia is knocked on the head. Because you can bet your bottom dollar, right? It's not that hard to do. So I do agree. If I was in Rochdale, I have this with Pat and I were having a chat about. Pat said, "Well, do you think voting, is the politics is the answer?" And I said, "Well, no, not really. But other than right, how are we going to get out of this mess that we're in? It's unless you vote, for these people and get these people into Parliament. But the problem is we need numbers. We've got so much. We've been split as a nationalistic, whatever you want to call us, freedom fighters, on the right side of history, whatever you want to call us. We've been split, and we've been split politically as well. Look at how many candidates in that. If you flip that back up for me, John, because you had the Reform Party, okay, which although they're supposed to be the alternative to conservatism, they're just all these people are just as bad as each other, and that's why it is important. And if you're going to vote, you have to vote independent. Why has NHPUK not got someone running? Is it so you're not in opposition, or
no? It's,
not member of Parliament. No, we're not ready for it. We're nowhere near ready for that. We're going to start local counselling.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Simon, Reform UK are nowhere near ready for it either. And
yeah, I agree.
So the way it works is you can't automatically, magically make a whole load of people vote for something that they're not used to voting. George Galloway's different because he's a household name and he's using that foreign issue as well. But for example, if you don't hold half of the council seats within that area, so in a parliamentary election, there's probably about 20-25 local council seats within that area, and if you don't hold half of those, you're not going to have a chance of winning it. It's simple as that.
It's because of this party, this loyalty that you have. We're Labour, we'll always vote Labour or Conservative or that way of working. I tell you what, though, Pat, sorry to interrupt you very, very quickly, is that what you're doing, knocking on the doors, that's the way to do it. There's an old marketing saying that goes, if you don't tell, you can't sell. So you're basically selling yourself, and that word of mouth, because the lady, although I'm not sure whether your story of the lady in her knickers that you were with, whether that is actually a genuine story or not, or just an excuse that you're giving to your mates. But no, it really is good, because that lady will then, she'll tell, oh, he was never so nice, he was, that Pat McGinnis. And it's that word of mouth, and this is what NHPUK have got to do. You've got to get the word out there, and you need people to be promoting you. And it's not just in Oldham and Rochdale; it's literally everywhere.
So, for example, Simon, in my ward, there's about 8,000 voters. So this is a massive task for me to even win a little ward like that. In a parliamentary election, you're talking 70,000 voters. You just haven't got time to knock on all those in such a short space of time. What they've just called the election or whatever. So you need to do one local seat at a time. Reform UK, they don't hold hardly any local seats anywhere in the country. They're going to get absolutely slaughtered in every single parliamentary until they can win enough local seats within a parliamentary constituency. But the thing Reform can do is they can split the Tory party. If they can do that, it's going to be worth it. If they, split the Tory party in half, that'd be great. The Gaza conflict has split the Labour Party in half, and it's just a matter of time. We've had to start again because of Farage. He gave all the power back to the establishment because he is the establishment, and we're starting from the beginning again. And that's just the way it is. It's not great fun and exciting politics. It's quite boring sometimes, but you know, this is what we're doing. This is why we started the party. But also a big thing of politics is the mainstream media and the stranglehold they have on the population. And I want to ask you some questions about UNN, Simon. So David Cluse admits that he was a little bit politically correct when he first started it. Was you the same as that? And when did you come on board? Can you tell us the story of UNN?
Yes, are you sitting comfortably, children? Once upon a time, about 4 years ago, there was a pandemic. Turned out to be a bit of a scam. And Gold Eagle was sat at home with Mrs. Gold Eagle, who'd lost her job because of this scamdemic. She was on sick leave, and they just told her to basically, thank you, you're sacked. She didn't get any redundancy. So there we are, stuck at home. And we start watching this thing on our computer called YouTube. There's a comedian I discovered called Alistair Williams Comedian, because I like a bit of fun. I like to have a laugh. And he was really, really good. His show was usually on about 9:30. So just before he came on, I was flicking around and I discovered UNN. UNN was set up by David Cluse and another guy called Carl. And they did a show every night. And then in the lunchtime slot, there was another guy there called Oliver. And it was good. It was very informative. It was basically talking about Brexit, and stuff going on. Basically, I was watching it and it became part of my routine. But then Carl, he left. Well, he sort of left, but he didn't. He sort of stepped back, I think would be the best way to describe it. Because I supported David, I was making videos for him, and we became good friends. He said, "Well, do you fancy doing a show?" And I said, "Oh, really? Can we not get somebody else? A professional?" And he said, "No, come on, don't knock yourself, don't put yourself down. They'll love you." He did butter me up a little bit. He told me how wonderful I was and how talented I was. And so I started doing Carl's shows. So I was doing 2 nights a week. And then I was saying to David, look, we really need to build, this UNN could be massive. We could be like the alternative TV for people to watch. And David, to be fair to him, did back up my idea. We took on, it was about 9-10 presenters. But unfortunately, in alternative media, unlike GB News, who get millions and millions of pounds from generous donations, all of UNN's funds are from the viewers. Although we do get, good viewing figures, people don't have to pay to watch our content. So funds became very, very low because I do get paid. David pays myself. He doesn't pay Kate Shemirani. Kate Shemirani does it for the love and to get the message out. But everybody else actually gets like a salary from UNN. But unfortunately, due to what's been going on, because once so after COVID, you had Ukraine. And so we lost a lot of people because David was saying, look, they're slashing money to Ukraine. Ukraine are not, it's not what they're saying. We lost a lot of viewers. And again, with this Israel Gaza, because what was that? That wasn't on the screen for long enough. Then I was going to read that chat. But again, with the Israel Palestine, because David is not like the Tommy Robinsons of the world, shilling basically for Israel and totally putting Palestine down. People have left, and those are people that donate to Unity News Network to keep us running. But David has uncannily has been right about everything. Very little things he gets wrong. I mean, there's still things that haven't yet been debunked, like whether Michelle Obama is actually Michael Obama and things like that. That sort of thing, hasn't yet been proven. But he was proven right on COVID. He was proven right on the jabs. He's been proven right on Ukraine, and he's right with what he's saying about Gaza. And I tell you what, he's got such integrity, because he could quite easily have joined in all the anti-Palestine rhetoric, right, and kept the shekels that come from those donations. He could have done that. One thing that I actually said it the other day, I think it was at our Christmas thing, because David doesn't, he hides his light under a bushel. What I mean is, right, so when he started up No More Lockdowns, okay, I do the merch. That's my business. I've got an embroidery machine and printers and stuff. I make T-shirts and stuff. Don't have a website, so I can't. I'm not shilling here for Gold Eagle. But what you won't know is that David gave away, must have been a couple of £1,000 of free merchandise. He was, if people couldn't afford it, from all the donations that got in, he bought these yellow boards for people. So he was selling the yellow boards, but if they couldn't afford the yellow boards, he was giving it to them. Basically, he is a good man. And that's why I support UNN, and I'm not going to stop supporting UNN. I mean, I suppose I would if he suddenly came out and said, "Oh, sorry guys, I got it wrong. Yeah, is Israel good, Palestine bad?" Then yeah, maybe I might.
Yeah, I mean, I think you lot are doing great work, and when GB News hit the scene, it was refreshing, because they were saying things on there that you would never hear on the Sky News or BBC News, ITV, Channel 4. But as time went on, I kind of realised that they're just being run by the same enemies of Britain who run Sky News. That's the reality. And people like UNN, and we mentioned UK Column earlier, they're like alternative free speech platforms who try and get a message out what you're not going to hear on these mainstream channels. And I just think that everybody must support UNN. David is a Christian nationalist like we are, and you're a Christian as well, Simon. And National Housing Party supports Unity News Network 100%, and I hope it can keep going. And like you say, on the really important issues like Gaza and Israel, I've lost a lot of followers because of the Gaza Israel thing. But I just cannot lie about things. I can't say something is okay when it's wrong. I don't support Hamas, I don't support Israel, but the Palestinians are having their land stolen from two ways about it. And, I'm willing to say that. I don't care if I lose followers. And David's the same as well. So, like you said, GB News are being funded by multi-billionaires. They're getting like massive donations. And, but yeah, it was interesting, the whole thing with GB News. But now that was another thing. Like more and more establishment Tory MPs were getting shows on there. Jacob Rees-Mogg, Fabricant, all these people. I'm thinking, how can people watch this? This is the establishment. This is globalism in action. These people are globalists. Who else you got on there? Farage, you got Jacob Rees-Mogg, Tomlinson, whatever her name is, and there's quite a few of them. So it's like it's like an extension of the Tory party now, and Reform UK, like they're so wishy-washy. The only thing I agree with Reform UK against the net zero thing, that's the only thing I agree with them. But that's about it. Over to you, John.
Well, I don't support Israel, don't support Palestine. I haven't got any opinion. The party lines were neutral, like Pat says, but again, why are we going on about things in another country when we should be going on about things in the UK? I don't care. Every party, every political people, even Reform, Richard Tice is sending aid to Ukraine. So what that means, he's going to still pay him money for send them money for weapons and all that if he's leader of England or whatever. Whatever. Honestly, I don't want nothing. We need to get them all out. And they're all trash, and I just don't want to know. Honestly, I just don't want to know. And they're all as bad as each other. even if you want to go to Israel and Palestine are as bad as each other, obviously you can't criticise these two lots of people in the UK because it's a criminal offence, even though it's nothing to do with 90% of the UK. Sorry. Don't swear, John. Oh, sorry. Wind up. But anyway, Unity News Network, we do need to use other networks. I am actually quite a big fan of UK column, even though they're like lefties. Brian Garish has done a lot to do with Melody Shaw and some other particular injustices, and I can't fault them for the stuff they've done, and it is really good. UNN, obviously, they have a wide range and a broad range of guests on. I know some already. Ollie, I've worked with before, and I knew before. I've been on with Vince Hawthorne. David's had me and Pat on a couple of times. Simon and that. You know, great. We definitely need these media networks. And even Billy's like, even he gets a bit of stuff from. He's had a lot of interviews, and he has been on GB News a lot to do with Rochdale. But even he is angry with the media, and he's not normally like this. And I heard a few things off him today, and I thought the media better be nice to him when they're with him. You know, they better be nice. But yeah, we do need alternative media. It's something that we've got to look into in the future to change all these kind of. Who is it now who runs the media? Is it Ofcom?
They're the regulator. They don't actually run it, but they're the regulator.
We need to look at Ofcom. We need to look at them because if you want to ask me bluntly, it's just the left woke communist and globalist thing.
And in their reach, they're reaching out. They actually got involved. The BBC during lockdown, the BBC contacted Ofcom. Because they complained about David Icke speaking out, Ofcom, although they're a regulator, they're not on our side. In fact, if you look at all these things like the WEF, the United Nations, NATO, all of these organizations, they're all part of the globalization. They're all part of what is known as Agenda 2030. They're looking for a one world order. I don't want to get too many. People call them rabbit holes, but it is actually mainstream stuff. I tweeted out earlier what I was going to talk about tonight because I want to give mainstream media. I want to give them a new, because it sounds good, doesn't it? Mainstream media. I want to call them clam. You know, like the clam, like a shell. Okay. I want to call them chlamydia. Chlamydia, okay? Because that's what they are, right? When you've got a sexually transmitted disease like chlamydia, I'm glad I got you laughing there. You can see what I did with the words, yeah? But what you get when you've got a sexually transmitted disease, right, is you have to protect yourself. And this is what I want people to do, is to protect yourself. So when you have somebody telling you something's happened in Israel, or whatever it is that the news that they are giving you, it's not news. It will be one of lots of things. It could be bracing you for something that's going to go on. It could be propaganda. It could be, but what they're telling you, you know, our friend Vince Cawthron, he'll always tell you about the tell lies vision. And this is what people like GB News, the Sky, BBC, ITV, they're all basically a propaganda. And once your eyes are open, it's a bit like that film, Sixth Sense, you know, but instead of seeing dead people, you see agendas. And that's what I see all the time. News reports. You just have to just look in the newspaper and just look at a news report and then think about what's behind it. Are they preparing you for something? Now, I tell you what, right? I do love, I was talking to Pat, and I was saying that although the name NHPUK, it's not like a green, a conservative on there, but what I think it is very good because it actually ties in with Agenda 2030. Because housing is very important. Look at Israel, Palestine. What's going on with Israel and Palestine? Okay, right. Well, if they have their way, they're going to be sending Palestinians over, so more refugees in there. So where are these people going to live? They're going to live in a house. Okay, hence it's good. What else have we got? We've got all this mass immigration coming over, but all of this, okay, is part of the Agenda 2030. The 15-minute cities, where they want us living in these, they'll build high-rise flats or some form of mass housing. So it is actually very aptly named as a political party, because it's at the root of what is important. Because everyone else, okay, these main parties, they are getting involved, like you were saying before, Pat, getting involved in Israel. These places are 6, 7, 8, 9,000 miles away from the UK, and it has nothing to do with the UK. So I mean, I don't know how I can get involved with NHPUK, the NHPUK, but you know, I'm more than happy to, because your message is a good one. And although I don't believe that politics is the answer, unless we have the numbers to infiltrate all the councils all around the country, then we'd have a chance. That's actually not my idea. That was a guy called Mark Windows, Windows on the Net. He actually is talking a lot of sense. And especially now, you've got the farmers. The farmers, when they're talking about food, you know, farming is your food. We're the people that feed you. I think people are actually waking up to this agenda that they want to control all our food.
Guy, I went in his house tonight who works in the local supermarket. I was surprised because he went on about the farmers, and he actually saw it on the mainstream media, or chlamydia as you call it. And the story about the woman in the knickers is a true story. You know, why would I tell lies? But yeah, at the end of the day, but what I would like to say is UNN believe in free speech, and that is a real traditional aspect of English life. You know, and you know, the thing I was quite admired David Cluse on is, you know, me, John, Paul Rimmer, we don't support Tommy Robinson. I personally think Tommy Robinson is a traitor to this country, because back in the day he took the side of Israel over the BNP, and the BNP had modernised, and we could be in the same position as National Rally are in France now with the BNP if Nigel Farage, Tommy Robinson, and the state didn't crash the BNP. But so yeah, David Cluse allowed Tommy Robinson onto UNN to air his views on Kate Sharamani's program, which I felt was quite an honourable thing to do, because David believes in free speech, and I know David Cluse doesn't like Tommy Robinson. So you know, you've got to give UNN credit for that. They believe in free speech. They gave Tommy Robinson a platform to air what he believed. And so, yeah, I mean, sorry to interrupt you there, Simon. Over to you two.
Can I just clarify on what Pat was saying there, John? Sorry to butt in. That all our presenters are autonomous, okay? David has said you can have whoever you want on your show. David didn't invite Tommy Robinson on. Kate Shemarani invited Tommy Robinson on. Now, Kate Shemarani, okay, when I first started speaking to Kate Shemarani, what I do is I give people 3 flags, okay? This is my tester. This is my litmus test, whether I carry on supporting, watching, listening to, etc. somebody. I'll give you an example. So Farage, when Farage turned around and said, "Oh, we should get Tony Blair to help run the vaccine passport," you know, ding ding, that's a red flag, okay? And I give these people 3 red flags. I give them 3 opportunities. Now, I'd actually given Kate, prior to speaking to her, Kate Shemarani actually had a red flag from me because I saw her at the big rally, Freedom Rally in London, and she was already talking then about having her own rally. And I thought, well, that's a bit suspicious. Bing! because, you know, what you need is when you've got a movement going, you should be getting behind that movement, not starting up another one. This is sort of like, you know, it's very similar to what happens in politics, where you've got like, oh, we've got Reform, we've got Heritage, we've got Reunite, you know, all these like different names. And all it does is it splits up the movement. So I actually had it, but I tell you what, that's since speaking to her, okay, because she's a free speech absolutist, and she actually has a lot of integrity. And as I say, she doesn't get paid for doing the show. You know, she has gone up very much in my estimation. I've lost my train of thought of where we were going. I was saying about, so she invited Tommy Robinson on, not David Clues, but David has said to Tommy Robinson, we had Danny Roscoe on as well. Came on to David's. This is what we like to do because it's free speech. Rather than going on Twitter and saying or whatever it is, we prefer, you know, to have a conversation like, if you've got a problem with me, John, you got a problem with me? Tell me what your problem is. We'll discuss it like men. You know, I think this is sort of like, you know, we call it a left thing and a right thing, but the left do not like talking about stuff. Why? Why don't they like to, you know, have a conversation? If they're right about what they're talking about, then they'd say it, wouldn't they? You know, rather than. Sorry, Mrs. Gold Eagle's just come.
Pertinent to maybe I'm not dressed.
Yeah, you need to be close to the microphone, baby. This is Mrs. Gold Eagle.
Hello there, Bob.
Yes, Mrs. Gold Eagle.
I was just listening to. I was just listening at the same time to David's stream as it's going live, and he's talking to Niall McRae, and Niall McRae just mentioned that there is. He wants to put the link up in our chat over at DLive because he's just saying that there's a petition that's gone into Parliament and it's getting 2,000 hits an hour, 2,000 people signing an hour for total non-immigration. So I thought he might be pertinent to whatever you were talking about. But yeah, and he's going to send everybody over there because I think that's what people want. They want an end to immigration. So it's really popular and it's going like the wildfire. So I just thought I'd drop that into your conversation because Simon wouldn't be aware of what Neil was saying.
Yeah, no, because I am missing. You see, this is how much I love you guys. Is that I'm missing my favourite show, which is David Clues's Tuesday night stream.
I'm going now. Hello both, and hello everybody in your chat. If I was dressed, I'd come on and say hello, but I'm not properly dressed, so I won't.
Don't want to know. Thank you, Mrs. Gold Eagle. Thank you.
So I thought you might be pregnant.
So let me just take over a minute. So yeah, you know, in Oldham, we've got a guy called Raja Mia, and he's running for Member of Parliament in Oldham, Royton North or whatever, which is Jim McManaman's seat. And I mean, I'm not keen on him. But I do believe in free speech. I do believe when we have a hustings, that he should be invited to that hustings and not ignored like they do with a lot of people who they think are irrelevant. So you know, I'm a big thing in that, and I've said publicly, if they have a hustings, anyone organise hustings, they don't invite them, we're shutting it down. We're going to bring 200-300 people and shut the hustings down. Simple as.
This is what you're going to have to do that, because that's what they do with the hustings. Is they'll just invite you know, the top 2, 3. Sometimes even the Greens won't get an invite. But what you've touched on there, John, right, is so important. Okay, David Clues said this 4 years ago. It's a numbers game. Okay, if you get the numbers right, because they won't like it. I watched a couple of years ago. There was a meeting, a council meeting, and literally a couple of hundred people turned up. They can't turn away a couple of hundred people. You know, in a little meeting. It was, I think, a council meeting hall. But this is what you need to plan, and you need to organise. One thing that you've got to say about the Muslim, or don't know what you want to call it, okay, right? But they have what we English people have lost, and that is community spirit. And this is where it needs people like you, John, to get that community spirit, and Pat as well. You know, when you're knocking on the doors and you're talking to it, that you bring people in. You know, look, we're all part of this, and you look out for them. You know, so that, for example, if someone's ill, you know, you can go around, you can help them, etc. And we've lost that, and also the family as well, because again, you know, you can knock them for coming over here, taking our jobs. It sounds a bit like the war, you know. During the war, it was like you're coming over here, having our women, you know. I don't want to get. I have to stop myself. I'm self-censoring myself from getting too racist, because I am very.
Don't
very
validate the word, please. Don't validate the
yeah, but you know, we need to learn from things, okay, and those are important. Community is important, family is important, and that's what you need to do, John. Is you need to organise people so that people know from a phone call. Did you remember that guy in Batley? He spoke out about somebody, one of the teachers had done something about Mohammed or something that they weren't happy with. Phone call, couple of hundred people there. There was a film somewhere up north. There was a film being shown that they didn't like. Phone call, couple of hundred people there. Shut it down. Numbers work.
Yeah. Can I just say something, John, before I forget? So we've got a national meeting coming up. It's in Manchester, 9th of March. Please come up there if you support us. If you're members, if you're watching, contact myself or John. Also, if you want to stand in local elections, contact us. The time is right. The time is now to save this nation. We're a little bit behind mainland Europe. It's happening in mainland Europe. They're on the verge of getting power in France, in Germany. It's going to happen here. We need to stand in elections. We need to step forward. Stop moaning, join a party, and come and help us. 9th of March, Manchester. Myself, John, Paul Rimmer will be speaking. We'll have some guest speakers on the afternoon. It's going to be Saturday afternoon, 9th of March. Please get in contact with us if you would like to attend. Over to you, John.
Yeah, thank you, Pat. Yeah, so 9th of March, Central Manchester, 1 p.m. The meeting starts. I think we'll get him, but I have asked Nick Buckley if he'll speak, and I'm sure he's going to be speaking. Obviously, I'll be speaking. I take a bit of a different approach on my speech. I'm going to be speaking about social services and a bit about the care system in my speech more this time. We're going to have Angie will be there, Paul Rimmer will be there, a lot of people from around Manchester, and I've got some mates to contact. But yeah, that's 9th of March, guys, Saturday 9th of March, 1 p.m, St. Peter's Square. And I'll put the link to the website up as well. And I'll put some banners up that have got our details on them. If you just hold on a sec.
But thanks for coming on, Simon. Really appreciate it. And you know, we all support your channel, UNN, and everyone go and follow UNN on Twitter and Rumble and DLive.
Yeah, please. I've put the links in the chat already.
Also, Gold Eagle on Twitter. What's your Twitter?
It's Gold Eagle Media 1. I'm actually 23 people away from hitting 1,000 followers. Right. So that's very, very exciting. But yeah, thank you guys for tonight, for letting me talk.
Say the address again.
Sorry, say again?
Say the Twitter address again. Your
Twitter. Gold Eagle Media 1. That's Gold
Eagle.
It.
It's in the chat.
Not Bald Eagle or Cold Eagle, but Gold Eagle. I think as well, if I just leave you with a bit of positivity, is we need not to get so stressed. Don't get so angry, because it's not good for your health, because you still got to look after yourself. Okay, because if you're not going to speak out, Who else is gonna do it?
No, yeah, I agree, but it's how you channel your anger. If I get angry, I'll go and write something. If I get angry, I'll just go out and deliver leaflets and knock on doors and talk to people. It's how you motivate yourself with your anger. I've always said that, mate. How you can channel it. So I don't mind getting stressed because I can channel it to do something else. So I'm confident of that. I'm confident that. But thank you very much, Simon. Legendary panel as well. Pat on the legendary panel tonight. Sorry we couldn't be with Paul Rimmer, but the Orange Order has called him, so there's a meeting there. But we'll be on next week with another special guest. I'll put a link to the party website in the chat, and on screen is our PayPal and our admin email. If you want to get in contact with us, please do. Like I said, we've got a meeting coming up. Got a meeting coming up. There's my email, my phone number, and there's Pat's email. Patrick.mcginnis at nationalhousingparty.uk, john.lawwrence at nationalhousingparty.uk. I'll put the links to Simon's UNN and all that is in the chat, and it's also in the description to this video on YouTube. So please follow UNN. But thank you very much, Simon. Thank you to everyone in the chat, and we'll see you next week.